everyone, I'm here with a fun tarot tag called Tarot Winter Wardrobe. Now this was started by the wonderful Kelly Bear. I'm going to post the link to the original video below, and also if you look up the hashtag you can see others as well. I thought it was a great idea and perfect for this time of year, for the festive season. And how much fun is it to do a tarot tag? I have not done one in a long time, so I thought this is a perfect opportunity to do one. So it's all based on what you wear in the winter, and hey, living in the prairies in Canada, I can relate to all of this. We wear all of this stuff to just go out and survive in the frigid winter temperatures. But I love it. I love winter. So let's get started with our tarot tags. So the first is, number one is base layers or thermals. And you do need that, I must say, especially when it's cold. Having some good thermals, some good leggings are always great for going out into the cold. So this is your foundational tarot. So I picked for foundational tarot, I picked the Rider-Waite Smith because, hey, this is kind of the system that I work with for the most part. And it is sort of, to me, like the basis of being able to read all the other Rider-Waite Smith derivatives. So I have here the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot in a tin, sort of a travel size. This is always in my purse. I love this deck. You know, I know a lot of people love the muted colors of some of the other versions, but I like bright colors. I like this one. I think it's really pretty, really cute. I love keeping it in my purse. You never know when you're going to have a tarot emergency, right? And what better than to have a Rider-Waite Smith with you? I think this is just a great deck. Even if you don't read with it, I think studying and understanding this deck can really help you to just have a really good, strong foundation for reading cards, reading the tarot, at least the Rider-Waite Smith version, which is what most decks these days are based on. I think it is great to have an understanding of it. I think it's part of the history of the tarot, and it is an important one. So that I find to be what I would call my base layers for tarot. Now the second is the Ugly Christmas Sweater. So a novelty deck that brings you joy. So I have here the Classic Rock Tarot. It is a novelty deck that brings me so much joy. As you know, I'm a big fan of classic hard rock and heavy metal, so this deck is perfect for me. As you can see, the tuck box has seen better days. What can I do? It's a tuck box. But this deck has brought me so much joy. It's got a guitar on the back, which is very much like the guitar I have that I play with, my main one. And then it's got all sorts of classic rock artists in there. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right. So we got the Hierophant is George Harrison from the Beatles. We've got the Empress is Janis Joplin. The Queen of Swords, of course, Freddie Mercury. Neil Young for the Two of Pentacles. Now, the one thing that bugs me about this deck is the major arcana kind of makes sense, but once you get into the minors, it's just sort of like random rock artists, which, I mean, I guess it's a novelty deck, right? It's got some Steven Tyler in there. I love the cartoonish sort of caricatures here, but what really sold me on the deck, if I can find him, that's great. The Sun, Jerry Garcia, makes perfect sense. We've got Nikki Sixx in here. The High Priestess, of course, has to be Stevie Nicks, because it has to be, right? I mean, she's amazing. Let's see. We got the Chariot. We got Rob Halford from Judas Priest on his motorbike, which he used to ride onto the stage all the time, so that makes perfect sense. I love that Keith Richards looks a bit greeny here, you know, it's like he's gonna live forever, right? He's a zombie, that's for sure, or a vampire, some people think. We have Gene Simmons as a devil, because yes, of course. Where else do I have in here? Got us some Joan Jett. It's one of the queens. Where is she? Oh, got Heart in here. So we got some ladies in here. So we got some good lady representation as far as rock music goes. So that's good. Some good female rep. We've got Slash in here. So of course, I had to buy a tarot deck with Slash in it. Of course, I had to get it. Got the Ace of Pentacles, of course. I think he should have been Ace of Swords. Lemmy should have been for the Ace of Spades. That should have been Lemmy. Rather it should have been the Swords rather than Pentacles, because the Swords are the Spades. So he should have been the Ace of Swords. Oh, there we go. I had to get a deck that had Axel in it. And of course he's the fool, because of course he is. Like, it's fabulous. This deck brings me so much joy, even though, you know, not all of it makes sense, but it is a wonderful novelty deck, that's for sure. All right, next we have Winter Coat, which is a workhorse deck, or one that's used the most. Now, that's kind of hard for me to say because I tend to pick kind of a tarot deck for the month to use and then use that unless I'm using a really specific deck for a reading. But I would say my Winter Coat deck is probably the Shadowscapes Tarot. I love this deck. I use it a lot. I use it a lot in photos as well, just because it is such a beautiful deck. So gorgeous. The artwork on here is amazing. I've heard some people claim that, you know, they wish it was a little larger so you could see all the beautiful details going on in here. And I kind of agree with that, although I do like a nice size like this. This is, you know, this standard sort of Llewellyn tarot size is great for shuffling, especially when you have little hands like myself. But it's a beautiful deck, and it is just the colors. I love all the foxes in here. I love that there's like unicorns and swans and just like all these animals I love. And you know, it's this beautiful sort of like pastel-y watercolor. It's a beautiful deck, and I use it a lot, and I know clients really love it in readings as well. It has a beautiful fey quality. So I would say that this deck, you know, if I was thinking of a workhorse deck, then this, you know, definitely would be one of them for sure. Okay, next is number 4 is Snow Boots, and it says a deep dive deck to really sink your teeth into. So I had to kind of really think about this one. But one of them I would say is definitely the Sicoli Tarot, or Chicoli? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Again, we've got a text box that has seen better days. This deck is not a beginner's friendly deck. This deck is one that some people have found, you know, maybe a little bit disturbing. It has that kind of cute, creepy quality to it. A lot of people have used this for inner child work or shadow work, especially if they've dealt with, like, you know, significant trauma during your childhood. It does have like a bit of a creepy vibe to it. It's cute on the surface, but also a little disturbing as well. And so it's one that you can really kind of deep dive and sink your teeth into. The symbolism, I think, is very interesting in this deck. This is a deck where I believe the art was created before the deck. So it's not like the art was created specifically for the deck, I don't think. But it is one where they chose works from this particular artist. And I think, though, it holds up. Like, it doesn't always hold up when people do that. Like, this is an interesting card, you know, can bring up some difficult feelings for sure. This is not, you know, a light and fluffy deck to work with. I think this is the only male in this deck as well, the Emperor, which is interesting. Or one of the few males, anyway. So definitely one that can be used for inner healing, particularly I think for women, healing the inner child. But it's not like I don't think men can use it. Obviously, if you're looking to heal like the inner feminine or something. Like, look at this, her dress, like, you know, it's kind of, you've got the boat and the sea monster and she's pulling at it. Like, there's a lot going on here. This is not just a light and fluffy deck, that's for sure. So that is my Snow Boots deck. Now, hat, or as we call them in Canada, toques. Derek, well, for the winter hats anyway. A deck you struggle to connect with. So one that you can't quite get your head around, I guess. So I struggle to put this back. So one deck that I think is gorgeous, but I've really struggled to connect with is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. So let's zoom out a bit for this one. Okay. The Dreams of Gaia Tarot is gorgeous. So beautiful box, beautiful packaging. The book is gorgeous, lots of info in it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. I love me some gilding. It's beautiful, but it doesn't follow the traditional tarot system. It does have, you know, the suits. It has earth and water, fire and air for the 4 suits. The major arcana, she kind of made her own major arcana, and maybe that's where I'm struggling to connect with it, because I struggle to think of it as a tarot deck in some ways, and I wonder if I would get along better with it if I thought of it more as an oracle deck. I mean, the art is beautiful. The deck is beautiful. I love the dragons in here. It's gorgeous. It's like a beautiful fantasy deck, and I love that kind of stuff. But I just have trouble connecting with it, and I don't know if I need to just sit and work with this for a while or what, but yeah, I struggle with it, and I don't want to get rid of it because it is so beautiful, and I feel like maybe at another time or in the right circumstances I might connect with it better. But yeah, it's one that I struggle with for sure. So next we have our Scarf, which is a deck that comforts you or supports you. All right, so let's put this guy away. So I thought about this because, you know, I think there's a lot of decks that could fall into this particular category, but I picked the Angel Wisdom deck. I think this is a really supportive, lovely deck. I think this one is really great for beginners. Particularly people that might, you know, have a little bit of fear around the tarot, because, I mean, there's angels in here. But also, it has the meanings on the bottom, so you can use it, you know, straight out of the box. You don't even really need the book. It's got the meanings there. And I think it's a really comforting deck. I also think, too, this deck is great because it's got diversity in it. It's really beautiful. So I think, like, everyone can relate to this deck. So it's a really nice deck, and it is a soft deck. It's a gentle deck. It's kind of a mix of both modern things and a little bit of, you know, fantasy and, you know, we're looking back to the past, but it's beautiful. It's got some like medieval type influences in it. It's a lovely deck. It's fun. See, and then you go to here to, you know, more contemporary, again, more contemporary type of images here. We've got the Happy Family. It's beautiful. It's got lots of diversity in it. And we've got angels. So, I mean, it is, to me, just a lovely, comforting kind of deck that I've used at times for daily draws just because it is like a very simple, straightforward, look at it, look at the meaning. It's fun. It's a cheesy, fun deck, and it is very comforting. And they've got mermaids in here. I think there's some unicorns going on. It's a great deck. What can I say? Very comforting. All right, and then number 7, we have Mittens, a travel deck for on the go. All right. So I mean, I do keep my Rider-Waite-Smith Radiant one in my purse. So that is a travel deck. But another one that's a great travel deck is my mini Everyday Witch Tarot. Now, Everyday Witch is one of my favorite decks, and I have a little mini deck, and like, how great is that to like put in a purse? I keep it, actually, this one on my dresser mostly, and it's one where if I need like a quick answer to something, I can always just grab my little tiny mini deck. So beautiful. This is a great deck. I love this deck too. This deck gives me like Silver Ravenwolf 90s vibes, craft vibes. I love it. It is so much fun. It's just like a cute little deck, and very like straightforward. It's very like clear. I find it is a very clear reader, clear messages, and the artwork is just, it's great. It's fun. I love it. So yes, this is my travel deck. And I think that is everything for this particular tag. So I want to thank Kelly Bear for making this particular tag because it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed like seeing other people's choices as well. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. You can check out her original video linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace and love and rock.